Okay, we'll start. So, hello, welcome to the Thessaloniki Software and Testing Meetup. I'm Pourdanis. I'm a co-organizer of this meetup among 4 years ago, and I am working on software quality for about 6 or 7 years or something like that. And today I will present to you accessibility testing tools and automation. Before we start, I want to mention our sponsors, Manpower Group, Norris, Skooks, Intrasoft, International, Foodec Solutions, Onelty, and Kenotop are supporting us for this meetup. And we are thankful for that. And also, I don't know if it's Panos here to share something about Manpower Group, that it's a new sponsor of us and have something to share about the company and of course an existing.
Hi, John.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Yeah, so go on. I will mute myself.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. Topic looks really interesting, so looking forward to attending the session. I won't bother you much. Well, comparing to the other sponsors, we're not a tech firm. We are an HR firm. So basically right now we have some interesting QA roles for either Thessaloniki or Athens, or for manual or automation testing. So if any of the attendants is interesting for the roles, for the QA roles Manpower is right now handling, just feel free to get in touch with us. Thank you very much and enjoy the session.
Yeah, thank you, Panos. So, as I said before I started, about accessibility testing, I just want to ask to type in your chat or unmute yourself if anyone is working on that in his or her company as a testing type that it does an everyday job. So if someone works on that, please type it, because I'm not so familiar. I'm started investigating and working on that because I'm working. I just forgot to mention that where I'm working. I'm working in a software house here in Thessaloniki called Kiss My Button, and we work for a project for VMware. So VMware introduced for all the products the accessibility testing as a huge thing that needs to be happen for the whole organization and whole products. So that's why I get the idea to present to you the accessibility testing, what I have done until now. Okay, all right, great. We have one person that it's a part of the job. That are great news for the Greek community, actually, because I was thinking that was alone, actually. So yeah. So let's start with the basics. So what accessibility means? Accessibility means that application can be used by people with disabilities, like hearing or color blindness, or even with people that are an old age, like our grandfathers or our fathers, maybe something like that. So yeah, it's not only the people that have clear disabilities, like, as I said, the blindness or the hearing or something like that. So the people with those disabilities use assistive technology will help them to operate in the software product. Those kind of assistive technologies, the speech recognition software, that actually it converts what you say to a word and give it some input in your computer. Also, the most famous is the screen reader software that it used to reach out the text that displayed on the screen. Of course, we have the screen magnification software that used to zoom in or zoom out of something that you want to see. And the last one is the special keyboard software. The most famous one is the visual one that exists in operating system. But the thing is that maybe the keyboards, like the title says, will be something like the keyboard that used by Steve Hawkins. So the software itself, it recognizes when he moves his eyes and types whatever he needs, because he couldn't move anything of part of his body. So we'll move to the next slide. So what is accessibility testing and why we should do it? The accessibility testing actually is the testing type that shows how accessible is our software. It's a subset of usability testing actually. And also you can find it as abbreviation on A11Y. So it's called ALI. If you see it somewhere, it means accessibility. So why we should do it? The statistics show that the good software products spend more than 50% of its budget of usability. And usability means to have a clear product, it's understandable, it's easy to use, and all of this stuff. So as a subset, accessibility, it's part of this budget that spends on every good product. Also, we have a target market for people with disabilities, right? So if you want to increase your target market that you have in your product, you need to be have your product accessible. Also, the third is that there are accessibility legislations for government and banks and many big companies required. It's a thing that it's required to have it to sell to the government or to sell to a bank or to have. So that's, I said, in VMware that I work is something that it's if you don't have it, you just cannot, at least in the US, sell your product to government or to banks or many other organizations ask for it. And also there are avoid some potential lawsuits. There is an example. There was an article before 2 years ago that one blind man chose Domino's Pizza because he couldn't order a pizza through their mobile app. So there was a huge discussion about that. And of course, after that, Domino's Pizza fixed the issue, the accessibility issue that had their mobile apps. So, and also we need to see that in our days, in the COVID days that we have right now, and all are working from home or doing things from home, everything is happening from home. Created the need, the COVID created the need to all people use software. So don't think about it, as I said before, that people with disabilities are only people that have something that is you can see it. There are people that have small disabilities, let's say, that think about your father or your mother when they cut their phones, their mobile phones, the smartphones, they wearing their glasses because you need to increase the font to solve the issue that they have, right? And the last one is about care. Care about those people. And this is a picture that I found on accessibility course that I took. This is not something that it's nice. So the picture describes a woman that have disability issues, and this is a university actually that other students sit right there to take the lesson, but she can't because the classroom itself, it's not accessible, right? It's not designed to be accessible. So yeah, that's one to share about caring about other people, right? So okay, we saw that what is accessibility testing and why we should do it. The thing is how we can do it. So we have 3 ways right now. We can do it manually, of course. So the first check that you can do to see how accessible is your product is just remove your mouse and try to access your product. So you will be surprised for that, I'm pretty sure. There is automated way. The automated way, I mean, by tools that checks your product and give you some recommendations of how you can improve it and how you can conform and go according to the standards that have been done. And the automated way with automated test, it's users of libraries that can be integrated with existing infrastructure of automated tests. So we will have a demo on that. So I give a note here that the automation is not a silver bullet here. The automation will cut only 20 or 30% of issues, accessibility issues. So the recommendation is about to do it manually itself, and highly recommend it to, if you have the ability, to have a person with disability to actually manually test your product. That's the case that it's the real case scenario, right? So so we would see. So we need to know how the accessibility is measured. Accessibility of the web, and that's why I'm going to take a look on the first slide. It's you need to follow the web accessibility standards created by W3C, known as Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. Those guidelines have 2 versions. One is 2.0 and 2.1. And to get these levels of conformance, it's kind of different. You need to satisfy some criteria of that. We will see in detail what I mean. So to take the level A, you need to satisfy 25 criteria. To take the level AA, you need more. And to take the level AAA, you need 61 criteria to satisfy, to get conformance on that. Also, yeah, so we will see how it's measured. We'll see how we can start to improve our accessibility and what is the things that we can do, simple things on the design part and of the development of the product to make the product more accessible. So, of course, we need to start with a page title, right? The page title needs to be clear, what exactly describes of the product itself. After that, the image textual alternatives on as known as alt text on the image. So when someone hover over, use the screen reader software to hover over an image, you need to describe the image with the text, right? So that's the second case. The third case is the tab order of the keyboard. So you need to design the flow of tabs. So when you press a tab to flow correctly inside your application. The contrast ratio of the colors, of course, for the people that, as I said, maybe they have low vision or column brightness or something like that. You need to take care of that also. And we will see the area labels of on elements. We will see some example of that. Those labels are not visible to the user, of course. And they used by screen readers to actually specify the roles or the actions or describe any HTML element. Also, latest screen readers use, if you use semantic tags like nav, aside, main, section, field set, header, footer, that pure HTML tags, HTML5 tags, instead of just using divs or spans, they have functionality to be accessible itself. So just a div, it doesn't tell nothing to the screen reader software. Also, use the correct order of headings. So to H1 to H6, you need to have them in the correct order to be in a normal accessible mode. We will see examples of that. And of course, we use the buttons for clickables. We don't just not use something else to be accessible. And if we not, we need to add key events for keyboard accessibility, right? So if we have something like we will show in the next slide, you will see that you need to somehow tell to the accessibility tool that reads all the HTML code to what this element is, and associate the label with the form control. So when you have a form tag and all of this stuff, you need to associate the labels, what this form does actually. And last, it's if you have videos on your application or audios, you need to add captions on that. So if someone wants to see the video, you need to have subtitles and captions to be more accessible. So an example of alt text that we can use when I said for the image. So as you see, we have an image here, and the alt in the first site is image source is escalator JPG, right? And the alt text is man on escalator. We can improve it and describe it better, that we can say man walking on an escalator. And the best alternative text that we can give on this image is man wearing a backpack walking down on an escalator. So we give the direction, we give the description of what he's wearing, and it's the most thing that takes attention when you see the image. And the good practice on that are to describe the images as specifically as possible, but you need to have in mind to keep it short, as I said, and of course, don't include the image of or picture of. So we don't say image of a man wearing a backpack walking down to escalator. It's not a good practice on that. Also, we will see here about the area labels. So you will see in the first image, we have a button that has text sent inside of the button, and the accessible name here is sent. But if you just put an area label, send email to this button, when the screen readers will focus on this button, the screen reader will say send email. It's just offset, right? So it will give more sense what exactly this button does, what it actually sends. And on the image of your right, I guess, or your left, the button with those three burger that has class burger, right? It's actually, you can use kind of these styles, right? Buttons that are not clear buttons, or it's something like that. But you can use the ARIA label to give what exactly it does. So this is a menu behind the scenes, right? It's a button that has a specified CSS class that transforms it, and behind the scenes is a menu. It's open, maybe it's open a menu or something like that. And the last case that we have an SVG image inside the button. And as you see, the ARIA label, it's closed. So it gives actually to the user to understand what this X SVG does actually behind the scenes, right? So those kind of techniques that you can follow in your application to improve it itself. And of course, if we want to go further, you can do something. So we see here a progress bar, right? This is a progress bar that you need to somehow use JavaScript combined with HTML. As you see, we defined the role of here, it's progress bar. So when screen readers focus on that, it will say in the progress bar, and we will show also the value that is have this progress bar. So you can create just a simple JavaScript function that update the progress. So here we will get the element from DOM. It's simple one, right? We set the attributes to the minimum value and the maximum value. So we have 0 and 100. And when we get the percent that's completed by the backend, I guess, this is how the flow will be. So every time that this progress bar will update, will inform the user how exactly the progress is. So you can do, as I put the slide and this image here and the instructions to give you an example of how detailed you can be behind the scenes of just describing DOM elements with ARIA labels, right? And now it's the part that we all have objections. You don't, or most of you don't use pure HTML, JavaScript, and all of this stuff. You mostly use some kind of framework like Angular, React, or new framework .js. I don't know what it will be next. So most of developers and products are designed regarding those frameworks. So the same situation, it's the product I'm working on. So what you can do here, it's of course, it's not a decision month to make the product accessible, right? So you need to rethink the whole team, how you can improve it. The first thing is to use components that are accessible itself. So there are many UI frameworks, design frameworks actually, like material design, clarity, and there are many that by design, if you use those components, they are accessible itself. So if you don't override CSS and don't do many complex changes on the component, your job will be done out of the box, let's say. So the things that happen, so let's say if you use a component of material design that is not accessible, it's not your problem, right? It's problem of the material design, and material design should fix it instead of you doing. The second thing that I will advise to you is to talk with the product team and all of together to make it as a part of definition of done of a feature. So if you mark it as if you mark it in the definition of done, so of a feature, so the feature will be take implementation and on the testing part will need accessibility testing and needs to be accessible on its part of the feature. And of course, you need to get involved the UX guys, right? So if you try to get your products accessible, you need to get involved your UX guys to redesign all the thing and help you to understand the usability and, of course, as the part of the accessibility of the product. So it's a common case and a must, I guess, that you need to get involved at least a UX guy on that. For the fans of terminals and all of these kind of tools that you want to do fast with behind the scenes, and you use the terminal like a hacker or something like that, I will advise you to use the product, the keyboard only to detect issues. So try to move your mouse out, and you will see, as I said before, that you will be surprised that how accessible is your product. The fifth advice is to use HTML native elements, as I said, instead of divs. So divs and spans are not so meaningful. Instead, if you combine it with area labels. So HTML5 native elements are designed to be accessible, and script readers, the assistive technology identifies as more easily. And the sixth advice is to the focus indicator. You will see an example of that in the demo. So the focus indicator means that when you're moving the focus of your keyboard or your mouse click, a border of what you have seen, it's applied to its area that you are. And of course, the responsiveness, right? So if you think about the zoom levels and all of this stuff that may a user use. So if you use your browser to see something and use the zoom functionality, your website, your product needs to be responsive and to see clear and read the text and all the information needed behind the scenes with the responsiveness, right? So yeah. So right now it's the demo time, as you see. We will make a small, some minutes break to give you on the chat. Yorgos will paste a link that you will have to put your name and your email address, and you will win a gift for our sponsors at the end of our presentation. So take some time to bring some water. I want to drink some water also, to fill this form with a name and an email, and in the end of our presentation, we will do the lucky draw, right? So 2 minutes of break to take some water, and we will see the demos of what we see.
Okay, thank you, Yanni. I have noted all the data in the chat room. We have a form. Please give your data there as well. We have a contact person, the Panos Kopsaftis is from the Manpower Group. I note all the as well the his LinkedIn URL. So okay. So let's take a break about 1-2 minutes, and we will go further. So Yanni, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yanni, we have a question from Maria.
Yeah.
On the chat, maybe you can.
Yeah. So Maria, the voice recognition applications are, it's a huge thing that many companies are there try to address, and as I said, it's of course they must fix them to be more native, like to more human like. Most of them, they are kind of configurable, and I will show you what exactly I will show you now what exactly I mean. So do you see my screen right now? Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. So about the Apple products, it calls the VoiceOver. This is the accessibility tool that they have. They are kind of configurable of what I have searched until now about the speed. So you can select their voice, and also you can select the rate of the phrases and the words it says, the pronunciation, and all of this kind of stuff. So it keeps improving, I guess. In our demo, we will use the Google's this one. Let me open the extensions. The screen reader of Google. It was used to be something like else, but this is the official screen reader of Google. So as I said, it's demo time, so we will start to see some tools that are mostly automated and some kind of things. So I will share them also at the end of presentation. So there is this side that actually what it does is just you can grab a URL of your site, something like that, right? And you can analyze it. You can analyze it also, you have options to analyze it, to what levels you need to conform, let's say. It just analyzes and produces a report, right? So we will do it. Yeah, I will share the links at the end of the presentation, no worries. All of them, and the presentation itself, I will share it. So I can analyze it. So let's wait what we see here right now. So this tool is kind of, you can take a first flavor of what accessibility means, right? And I tried it a very good accessible site until now, so we'll see. It takes some time. It's a free website, actually. It's a free tool, so it takes some time waiting. Let's see. Or the Murphy's law will punish me, and of course the site will fail to run. No, okay. So as you see, it detects 16 problems, right? And 94 warnings, and 16 don't result of success criteria. And if you scroll down, of course, you can put your email here to send you the report directly in your email. And if you go down here, it actually has the principles of accessibility standards. So the product needs to be perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust, right? So it shows that if you have the result here, the result of non-text content, it's level A, right? It has something like that, the warning, yeah. And if you click on that, it actually redirects you to the guideline itself. So you can scroll down to read about what exactly needs to fix actually to fix the accessibility issue that exists. So as you see here, all of this kind of information, they're too much, right? It's too much information. It takes the whole application, do the checks, and creates this report for us automatically. It's and also, as I said, gives the level that you can reach if you fix them. So if you fix that, you can gain this level. If you fix that, you gain this level. If you and of course you can set it up in the first side. So as I said before, so the 4 principles of accessibility standard is those 4, right? Perceivable information in user interfaces component must be presented to the user in the way it can perceive. Also, the operable user interface component, the navigation must be operable. Understandable information and the operation of the user interface must be understandable, all right? And the content must be robust enough to can be interpreted reliably by wide variety of user engines, including assistive technologies. So as you see here, the parsing, I don't know what exactly is, but if you go that, you can see more details of what exactly this check is, right? So this is the first. Yeah, this is the first. And as I said, this is I took the a very good. We will see. We will use the screen reader on this side. After that, we set to the tips that we gave of how we can improve the accessibility is the contrast radio, right? So the contrast radio can be checked easily here by this website. As you see, to the normal text, we have the accessibility standard of AA, and the accessibility standard EEE. And if we can switch off, you will see that if I move like this one, the conformance level fails, right? So if you have something like that in your application, so you have so much, I think it's opacity. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone UX guy. We have someone UX guy here. It's opacity, something like that. Yeah, I think it's opacity. So as you see, you need to have the correct contrast level, even if you change the background, to pass this easily. So you can set the color here, right? Any color that you can select. And you see if the color contrast that you follow in your elements and labels and all the text that exists in your application is conform with the accessibility standards, right? So this is something that human that have accessibility visually, mostly visual accessibility problems, he can read. It's kind of a standard. I don't know how this number comes from, but it's a tool that you can use it. It's for free, and you can have it to do some checks, I guess, with your UX guy. And then we will start to use with the fun part here. No, after I will do also the additional Chrome extension. It's called Wave, actually. So you just right-click on your web page, and it's called Wave. And I will do this like this one. So also this give us a summary about the errors, the contrast errors, alerts, the features, and the structure elements of, and also as I said before, that this website that I used for test is a very good website that already has ARIA labels. And there, if you go to the details, there are cool features that you can click on that and see, actually focus on the element to see. If you see the features, there are 2 linked images with alternative text. So if you see, the alternative text is download on the App Store or download on Google, get it on Google Play, and all of this stuff. So it's a cool extension that gives you more visibility of what exactly happens behind the scenes, and of course gives you the errors, right? So it's a cool thing that you can use also as a first steps of your I guess, Gabriel, I don't think that it's just to do static analysis of your code, right? So it doesn't crawl, I guess, to send some information about that. But it's something that if you do it view page source, you just get all this in automatic way, and just creating those kind of elements that you can identify easier. I'm not really sure to say the truth that you've sent anything, but it's an open source tool that most of people using. So yeah, I will refresh now and I will start using the let me move it to extensions. Okay.
Chromevox spoken feedback is ready. When in contrast checker.
Okay. So you can hear that. You can hear what exactly it says. This is what I was thinking of. Someone can hear.
Setting up of using screen readers. Heading 1.
Yes, we hear, John.
Okay. So as you see the screen reader, I will remove the mouse right now. And try to use the screen reader to accessible actually the text. I won't use the mouse anymore. So
this article explains setting up and using screen readers. Heading: this article explains how to set up and use a screen reader in order to think critically about the accessibility of the websites that you're building. Accessibility of the websites that Facebook image link. Creating a good user experience requires us to think carefully about them. A screen reader is an assistive technology that creating a good user experience requires us to think carefully about the diverse needs and devices of our users. We as designers and developers know that not everyone sees, hears, or reads content in the same way.
So as you see, you can page up, scroll down, change with the tab
National
order.
Institute of Health, link.
With the tab order, you can use the tab order to move to the links, and the screen reader will describe you what exactly you are going to see and all of this stuff. So I will recommend you, of course, to use a screen reader to play with your product. It's a free. You can use it, and you will see that, as I said, the real intention of how color brightness people use the screen readers to access your product. And I will close it right now about the screen reader software. Let me close it. Okay. So, and then last but not least, we will have the last way that I described. So we imagine that we have an automation suite that runs Selenium, Test or Protractor or Puppeteer or something like that. It doesn't matter. And we need to use it, to use some kind of library to inject in our test to have the accessibility suite. So the main idea here, and that's what was intended to be, is to use the Chrome tool that they have for accessibility. So it's called Lighthouse. If you open the developer tools, and you will see it on your Chrome dev tools. This tool is designed to run more type of tests like performance for progressive class, best practices, CEO, and all this stuff. And also they have the ability to use the mobile. You can do many things through dev tools of the Lighthouse, but the most simple thing that you can do is to manually first is to generate this report. So I have selected accessibility here and the desktop. If I run the generate report, it will give us a score. So this, I forgot, I will use it for that one, sorry. So large, I will use it for that one. So we have a sample page with a deep DOM, let's say, something like that. But let me run it for this one too. So I will close it. And I will do it again for this one. So I will generate a report for that because this is the URL that I have in test actually. So it generates the report, it does all the checks and all of this stuff and give us a score, right? It gives us a score of how accessible is this this page actually, this URL, this specific URL. So it has a report, of course, as I said, it has passed audit, so it gives us more information of what exactly passed or failed and the not applicable things that happened. But the main thing is that it provides a score, right? So my thinking before I started on accessibility testing thing is that we need a guideline in our automated test to have if we're going to the wrong way or we are going to the good way, right? So the easy thing that I implemented was to just inject this library in our test suite. So I will open the Visual Studio Code right now to see what I mean. So think about that. We have one test, right? We have one test here, automated test. Before on before function, we have the launch of Chrome or anything, any browser that you want to have, and run the Lighthouse. And this will return back a score, right? And this score will be a test that it says should this specific URL or this specific page, let's say, it should have accessibility score greater than 90. So if I run this test, it's actually opens the browser, opens the URL that you see before, but it's for testing purposes. Do the checks. Come on, do it. It runs behind the scenes, yeah. And it provides the score here. So the test pass here. So we set a limit, let's say, here. If I change it here to 85, let's say, it will fail, right? So with this kind of test that you will introduce or your test suite that you already have. So think about it, you have a suite that at least have all the pages of your product that you already have, and you need to just set the limit of every page that you have and see it in continuous integration, of course. Those will run behind the scenes and in continuous integration. At least it won't go worse, right? So that was the main idea. So if I ran the test, I would set the limit right here to be 85, right? and I run the test again. Okay, that was the Murphy's law I described before. I think it's 90. No, I need to set it on 96 because it is 95 already. So 96, 96. Okay. Come on, run. Okay. Yeah, it failed. So as you see, we expected to be 95 and we get 96. Okay, I will change the full screen to be a little difficult to see. I increased the, I will share the GitHub repo. Don't worry about the resources. The resources will be shared to all. The thing is to get the idea what exactly happened. So as you see, we just have a test that run exactly the same tool that give us the score here, and we assess the score of it. So we set it up in the continuous integration and run in headless mode, of course, and all of this stuff. And we have a guideline that if something gets worse, so if I start implementing, the developers starting put elements that are not accessible or components that are not accessible, this score will go down, right? So we decrease the score. It will decrease the score, and we will have something, a mechanism, at least for the first steps, that we're doing something wrong instead of improving the accessibility. Yeah, I will share, I have the GitHub repo with that, and also I will share the presentation itself. So now, where is it? I think here, yeah. I don't have more things to do. As I said, I want to do better an open discussion for that. What do you think? If you think that the accessibility is something difficult, it's sure and not easy thing, but with small steps and things that, as I said, you can do with your knowledge, for sure you can improve it. So any questions, if you want to ask me, open your microphone, or you can type on chat, or anything you want to discuss, of course. Yeah.
Yanni, may I ask something?
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible issue and presentation. Congratulations about this. Can I ask if we have a page that has authentication, login? As you show us, we can measure the accessibility of a page that is open. What about if we need to authenticate before we test accessibility of the page? Is there any pattern, something you can follow?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you are, it's an authentication page. I do it for just for the easy thing to be understandable. You just, it's a library. You can use it anywhere that you want. So you do the login as you do in your test suite, and you just add a function and another test, an accessibility test. It just gets the score and gives it back and assert it, of course, right? You can execute it in any place that you want. So you are in the page. So the thing is that, as you mentioned, the thing is that most of the applications and the products that you do have login pages and all of this stuff. And also, most of your products may change the DOM in the same URL, right? So what happens there? That's why the Lighthouse and all of this library that exist out there are for this purpose. So in every state that you want, so you are in the page that you are already logged in and you opened a model, let's say. So the model doesn't have any particular URL, right? It's the same URL, but just a model. But the DOM structure actually changes. And you need to run the exactly the time that you open the model, the accessibility tool, the library. So the run for scanning the DOM the right moment that you run the test, and gives you the score back. So if you have a structure with the pages and models and all of this stuff, that you will call it pages, of course, you can do the accessibility check for the score in any place, in anywhere that you want. In the login page, after login, in the models, or in the tables, and everywhere you want.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, hello. I have a question as well. So if you are going through an accessibility audit, one of the things that is tested is navigation traps. For those who are not familiar with the accessibility topic, a navigation trap is when someone is using an assistive technology or his keyboard and he is trapped in a specific part of your web. So my question to you, John, is have you found any tool that you can use to detect such cases?
As I said in my let me go back. As I said here, the automation thing is not a silver bullet here. Of course, as far as I know until now, it's not possible. So the things that it's doing, the navigation trap, I have heard about that. So maybe you press tab, somewhere it goes down, and all of this stuff. It's not you. The automation tools will teach you that there should be a tab border, not exactly what a border should be, if you know what I mean. So if you don't have on your HTML tab border, the automation think that it will catch us and say missing tab border, order element of these elements, this kind of elements. But the logic of tab borders, or the focus, or as I said, the focus indicator and all of this stuff, it's not so easy to detect, of course. And this will come the manual testing, of course. And the manual testing, as I said, not for us, that we are testers, right? We're testers and we know to test the software if it's functional or have some logic issues or something like that. Manual testers that have already disabilities and use the product as they can, right? Only with the keyboard, or only with the accessibility, the assistive technology, or only. This is my example here is just to show you all the ways, and of course notice that the accessibility is not the silver bullet here. Nothing. I don't know if I answered your questions.
Yes. From my personal experience, this is a topic that it's something that you cannot test with automated ways. That's why, at least during the accessibility audits, if you are asking an auditor to perform an accessibility audit to your app or website, this is something that it will be tested manually. But I was just asking, in case of your experience, you have found some way to test it, even partially, in an automated way. But thanks for your answer.
Yeah, no, I'm new. I don't know how experienced are you. I'm new on that. But as far as I said, in VMware itself, we have an external team, the accessibility team actually, that there are people that have a disability, and we combine our knowledge to have the successful criteria of every feature and every product for this. I couldn't when I was before 2 months when I was start checking and paying trainings about the accessibility. I said that if I did it alone, I couldn't do anything on that. So yeah, it needs a better, deeper knowledge, of course. It needs a lot of reading about the standards, right? And you need to, and of course, if you don't have the problem, you cannot understand it to how to solve it, right? So it's a better way to have the people, and this is a great thing that happen. Have the people with disabilities gives an interesting job to test the software and provide, of course, the feedback that they faced. So I want to reply some questions. So I'm replying to Tony. Tony, yeah, for mobile applications, it's kind of different, but I think that there exist also auditing things. It depends of what technology that you use. The Lighthouse that I used on the example is an NPM package, nothing more. And if you use something like Angular or React Native or something like that, I think that they have. And also, I think that they have something, of course, for accessibility, because most of the apps are needed to have something like that. So let me scroll down. You're welcome. Come on. Okay, I will read the questions. Introduce an accessibility testing process, the usage of hardware stuff for people with disabilities. Yeah, Fortini. I think that the case of process usage of hardware, yeah, it will be a way, but in my experience, it's preferred to test in the manually itself as it be. So the people who have disabilities, who will choose to use, let's say, the visual keyboard instead of the aerial keyboard, for any reason. We don't care of that for any reason. But as I said, the manual testing of accessibility, at least for now, there are tools from what I have did in research and all of this stuff. There are tools that trying to catch, as Christina said, more issues with a smart automated way, with machine learning and all of this stuff, but all of those are under development until now, and there's nothing provable. So let me start. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. George, testing of tools providing test for all websites for each page of the website separately. For each page, George, it's for each page. If you want to use the tool wisely, you can do it for each page that you have at least of the web. It's a library, as I said, and if you have, you can do it manually. So you can go through every page and to use the Lighthouse, or if you have an automation suite, like as I said, with Selenium and the Protractor and all of this stuff that follow some basic flows and test cases, you can inject it and do the accessibility auditing of the Lighthouse there. Is it, I replied, George? Any other questions? Any other questions? I'm really interested about that. I'm new, as I said, in accessibility, and these kind of topics are different in the topics that we have done until now in our meetup, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. It's something different. As I said, we in Greece, at least, I saw from as many people as we are here, only one people have it as in part of his job. But it's really interesting, of course. It's really challenging in many cases. And of course, as I said, there are many reasons to do it. And all of these things, it's about caring, right, for these people.
Yanni, George, yeah. Thanks for sharing about your very informative and interesting topic. So you mentioned in the beginning that the companies more in the US have to have all the accessibility features to sell the software to the bank or to a government institution. So the thing is, what about Europe? Is from the legal aspect the same, or?
I guess there are things that they are not the baby steps. There are things that in Europe, I guess, mostly in the European Commission, I have no knowledge actually about what exactly are the laws and all of this stuff, but those laws that happen federal in the US and all of this stuff, it's that because the people that work there complain, right? That's happened. Yeah. They complained about they cannot use it, and the different people that use the software in every company or in the government or in banks or something like that, they're complaining. So in the US, it's I guess it's a trend also to do the lawsuits and all of this stuff against company and take the money and do all those kind of things. So yeah, and the US government mostly, I think it's federal, have a law, have laws about that, about the software implementation, what exactly needs to be happen, and the conformance level that needs to be have. Mostly of organizations and banks and all of this stuff want to be the 2.0, and the level of performance will be AA, not the lowest one, the middle one. If there are any exceptional cases of a specific software that the target market is people with disability, the level of performance should be increased. This is kind of how it works right now. I don't know about the Europe. If someone has more knowledge about the Europe, what exactly the laws are separate.
I can comment on that.
Yeah,
it's part of my job. So in general, you need to keep in mind that for each country, the legislation is different. The country with the strictest legislation at the moment is the state of Ontario in Canada. More specifically, since 1st January 2021, any site or web application, no matter if it is on public or private sector, no matter if it is on internet or intranet, needs to be accessible, meeting the WCAG AA level. For Europe, I have posted a link. There is a specific law, and the tendency is as the years progress, we will see stricter legislation around many countries. What John commented on regards to USA, they are following the legislation of Section 508.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This is for public sector. However, what they have there is this movement of ADA, and people can sue any company for lacking in terms of accessibility. And this usually triggers a lot of discussion and taking action upon accessibility. Recently, there was a conference by TQ. TQ is a company offering services on accessibility. And in one presentation, it was very interesting because only 2020, it was more than 1,000 lawsuits in USA about this topic. So if you are working in a startup or if you are offering products or services around the globe, I would suggest personally, from my experience, that you start working your journey on accessibility. You will find it in front of you.
Yeah, that's right. And as I said, in the company I've worked, it's on baby phase right now, and it's already 2.5 or 3 years, I guess. The VMware itself has an accessibility team that does the work and the analysis, and goes to the old products and say, yeah, we need to do an analysis and how you can improve it and all of this stuff. So and I think they are late also. They are already late for that because there's those kind of things. As I said, it's a purpose of someone suits you and go to the courts and do all of this stuff. I want to reply to the question that Philippos did. So Philip was asking of how some examples of how me and my team have collaborated with a UX expert on accessibility optimization of your project. So what we have done is we use Clarity in our on our application, right? So the Clarity, it's kind of the same of the material design, and it's the design framework and all of this stuff. We use Angular on our website. So what we have done is to, first of all, we did an assessment of what we had regarding the accessibility conformance from an accessibility expert, right? So I give him the test cases, the manual test cases that you should do it and create a report of what when something is failed, he can not accessible at all, and all of this stuff. So we get that report, and then we sit down with the UX expert and the guy from the accessibility and from the testing team and from the development team, and we say, okay, what are the steps that we can improve? The first steps that we can improve is just to at least we were using an old version of Clarity, and we update the version of Clarity and the Angular itself. So this with the updated version, we get also the fixes that already implemented by Clarity design itself, and fix the accessibility issues that already have. Also, there was an agreement between the UX and the development side that the Figma projects and the designs that he will provide, there will be more kind of they will have more kind of components that already used by Clarity itself. So we move to the framework itself to avoid to do CSS overrides for something like we do. And of course, after that, we will get back and we will do the second step to verify again how we improve it, how well we'll improve it this from the accessibility perspective. And of course, I have did a proof of concept of how we can introduce, as I said, as I show you, some kind of automation that will be run in continuous integration, that gives a score or creates a more detailed accessibility report from the auditing. And this will get back and will get feedback again from the accessibility team and refactor anything that it's something like it's custom and it's not accessible. The UX guy, the developers, and myself and me and the testing team will be included and find a way to be, let's say, accessible. Yeah. Let me scroll down to read all the questions. Thank you for your questions; they are very interesting. The load should be until July. Okay. All right. Anything else? I think that we come to the end. So we'll do the lucky draw to win some welcome headset from our sponsors. So I will go to be clear here, I guess. Okay, we have 22 responses. Let me refresh it to be if we have more. So I will create the spreadsheet. No, I will download it. Okay. So come on, date table. So from 2 to 23, right? 2 to 23. Okay, the lucky number is 8. 888. Maria, you are the lucky one that wins actually a cool headset from our sponsor. It's a good one that doesn't have any noise cancellation and all of this stuff. So our sponsors will send you directly. So I will share only the email with them, and we'll contact you to send your address to send it to you. So yeah, congratulations, you are the great winner. So yeah, Yorgos, you want to take over?
Okay. So
we'll stop sharing.
So thank you, Yanni, one more time for your very informative presentation. So I think, Yanni, you will upload and post your presentation on our Meetup page on the next few days.
Yeah, of course. And the GitHub repo with presentation and samples and all of this stuff. Yeah, and all of the URLs that we have used. Okay, perfect. So everyone can watch all our recorded presentations on our YouTube channel. So as well, you can follow us in the social media. We have channels in Facebook and LinkedIn, and you can find all the data in our Meetup page. Yeah. Final, I would like to thank our sponsors one more time, Food Tech Solutions, Intrasoft International, Canatom, OneLity, Norris, Cooks, SG Digital, and finally, I would like to thank our new sponsor, Manpower Group. Yeah, please contact direct Panos if you are looking for a new challenge right now. Our next meetup, I think we plan it in the next 6 weeks, more or less, 6 or 8 weeks. We plan a meetup with Cyprus. And okay, if someone has something to present in the future, so please contact us directly to find a slot. And yeah, that's as well from my side. If someone wants to add something, please. Okay, nothing. So stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye from my side. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.